Friday afternoon at last. And what that means is, this is another edition of the Warneyuki Cheese Cafe coming to you from downtown Montreal. Here we are, the very first weekend of May 2025, and since I'm here, it's getting to be close to the weather that we're supposed to have, you know, at this time of the year where we're transitioning from spring into summer. And what better way to do that than to just stick around, show off a little pint for myself, possibly a new meal. I've shown off a lot of places around here downtown, like I know there was one spot I went to, Nick's Bistro last year, where I had a really good duck confit poutine, along with, well actually that was the first place I ever had beef tartare in my life. So if you want to see that episode, sorry, I was looking at the snazzy Vespa in the back. But yeah, if you want to see that episode, I'll put a card in the top right corner for you to watch that one. So the first destination is going to be Dominion Tavern, assuming it's still called that, because I saw some of the food over there was nice, and I have a small story here or there that I could share. So we're going to get on to this and enjoy the sun. But before we do that, here's my suggestion for you. Hit that subscribe button below and put your notification bell on, because that way, if there's a new episode ready to view, you're going to get a pop-up on your phone. Also, give me a thumbs up while you're at it. The more likes I get, the more this channel and all my videos are promoted across YouTube, so it helps me out a lot more. More than you think.
Well, if I could walk on water, and if I could find some way to prove, if I could walk on water, would you believe in me? My love is so true. So you said, just one more chance is all you get. Didn't mean to do you wrong again. Worse things have been done by better men. Baby, don't treat me this way. How long have I got to pay now? I'm still paying. Well, if I could walk.
First time over here at the Dominion Tavern, or I guess Dominion Bar. It's a spot that I hit up years ago with one of my best friends, Canadian Dave, in the comments section. It's like one of those spots where I feel like, sometimes he would be going out for dinner with his wife or his girlfriend at the time. They would say like, once they're done, we could go grab a quick pint to drink and maybe a whiskey once we're done. This is one of those that we hit up if we happen to be around the area. It's nice, it's got a cozy vibe, nice old rustic decor, I would say. And the funny thing what we talked about before is that this is one of the first spots where we discovered the Boreal IPA du Nord-Est, which is actually one of my favorite beers of all time now. Oh yeah, I did talk about some of my adventures with Canadian Dave, like perfect example, Liverpool House, along with Burgundy Wine. And I'll put a card in the top right corner for you to watch that one, if you want to revisit some of that. Now, to be fair, that was 5 years ago since I last stepped into this bar, not just with him, but also I think after a night out. And the beer menu has changed a lot since then. They seem to have a very simple menu now where you got Molson, Heineken. I think I also saw a couple of other Brasserie de Montréal. But what I have here right now is their Amar IPA. It's like their standard issue IPA at about 6.8%, but it's still a worthy drink to start Friday activities. Delicious. Funny. I'm looking at some of the stuff that's on the counter, and I kind of noticed that there's a couple of vinyl records. One I kind of know, Simon & Garfunkel's Greatest Hits, which is something that my parents had that we had stored away in their house. And the label on there, that definitely tells me that that's from Au Poitou. So if you know a thing or two about the record scene around Montreal, Au Poitou is one of the better known shops. It's like they opened up around the time before the vinyl boom really started to explode. You could go there, you could spend all day browsing through the new selections, and sometimes the old records that come in, because, you know, it's always a heavy rotation. This one looks like $3.99. I haven't seen a record for that price in a long time. But of course, with this brew being kind of heavy for me, I am going to have to get a classic meal for myself, and we're going to see that in just 1 second. So I have a very tasty meal that I sometimes like to get from time to time. If I want to do a little change from tartare, a little change from burgers or whatever in a pub, it's a lobster roll, or also known as a gaidi if you're ordering this around Quebec. So essentially just take some lobster meat, throw it into a hot dog bun, you throw a bit of a mayonnaise in there, maybe some onions, and you're good to go with that. It's very refreshing, especially if you go and get it in summertime. I have covered before a shrimp gaidi. That was when I was over around Piranha de Montreal, and then visited the Memento Brewery in Point St. Charles. And that was actually almost 2 years ago that I recorded it. So if you want to revisit that, then I'll put a card in the top right corner and you can check it out. And of course, these fries are always amazing. Oh yeah, gotta love this stuff. Tasty dish as always. I'm gonna admit I didn't get to film as much footage in here as I wanted to, just for a variety of reasons, but hey, at least I was able to have a good meal to fill me up in advance and have the one good pint right now, and feel like I want to go someplace else to get another pint, and maybe something that's more New England and something cheap. And it's making me think back to one spot that I remember hitting up like last year when I did my Eaton's vlog, going to the ninth floor restaurant. Like, oh yeah, that was in July. If you want to see that episode, I'll put a card in the top right corner and you can watch that one. But if you remember that one, then you kind of know what the next bar is going to be. Let's just say it's going to be a little bit more grungy. Quite the change since I last came here, which feels like it's been a little while. Now, I talked about Piranha Bar when I did my Eaton's video that last time, but just as a little bit of a recap, this place seems like it's a dingy like dive bar, but it has some pretty good music. Like it could go from Motown to Summer Rush that they're playing right now, which already gives me some bonus points. You go to metal like Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, and even some black metal, so it's pretty much all over the map musically. But if you're to go to the basement too, it's also like a music hall. Like people will play here, you can catch a band live and, you know, just enjoy the sights and sounds. When I was coming here, most of the beers were Tremblay, the regular blonde beer that's done by the Brassa RJ, which they're also the guys that do Belle Gueule, and they're located along like Christophe Colomb, close to Rosemont Boulevard. I visited them like a little while back when I visited Larry's restaurant. I'll put a card in the top right corner and you can watch that. But other than that, other taps would have been the Saint Ambroise. I would always get their New England IPA over there just for the heck of it, but it seems like they changed things a lot now. So they got rid of a lot of those other beers. It's now been replaced with mostly Archibald, something I had last week, and some Hoegaarden, and I think I also saw like Labatt 50, and that's exactly what I'm drinking right now, despite the fact that I have a Goose Island IPA glass. It's a nostalgic one. But the other thing to remember too is that if you come here for happy hour, they serve this one for like $6, which in 2025 is also a steal. Not as much of a steal as, let's say, $5 Tremblay that I used to get, but it's still solid. And one thing I have noticed too is if I go inside, the bar's usually packed. Like everyone's sitting around there. So I decided since I got the terrace open, I'm just gonna enjoy myself and just have some of the sun, sit outside while I'm doing me brew. And I see up in the distance they do have a Labatt 50 in a 750 milliliter bottle. Not too many places see those these days. Roll the Bones. And that's one Rush song I haven't heard in a long time. That album is underrated if you ask me, but you know, I say that as a huge Rush fan of my lifetime, so I'm kind of biased. But as you can see, I decided, as much as I enjoy being on the terrace, I want to come in here to kind of show off a little bit of the inside of the bar since I didn't do that much. But I want to go for another round since my other beer was all depleted. And one thing I kind of saw is that it was about $7 for some of the Archibald ones, which means that for happy hour, there's going to be a few deals besides just the one beer like in the past with the Trauma, so there's a benefit. Oh yeah, it's the Archibald Belmar IPA. Same one I had at La Bêtise last weekend, which turns out this is the West Coast IPA. This one, unlike the New England one, which is a bit more tropical, it's going to be a bit more bitter and caramel, so it's a pretty good one if you're into that style of beer. And I'll send you a cheers right now with this. Delicious. And I see too here that they do have a pool table, and I used to play it a lot when I was a teenager, a young adult, but then eventually got out of practice. So maybe one of these days, if I'm in the mood or have a partner to work with, I can try to get back into the groove of things. Oh, into the groove. I see what you did there. Tasty. Xanadu just came on too, so that's another Rush song I haven't heard in a while, so it seems like whatever they're doing today, they're doing a lot of the deep cuts. And it takes me back to some of the earlier days of me getting into Rush, or even my early days of music fandom. I forget which album it was specifically, because I was listening to the Stingray but Stingray channels when I had cable TV at home, and Rush was in constant rotation. Some of the 70s stuff, but it was always a lot of the 80s things, like you're thinking Permanent Waves, Signals, Moving Pictures, Time Stand Still off of Hold Your Fire. Those are the regulars. Somehow I decided to get into the records, and I know that I bought my first two of them. Like, let's say, yeah, it was Moving Pictures and Signals around the summer of 2006. I know that because I got into that when I was doing an art class after I had my appendix removed. Yeah, appendicitis on St. Jean. I've gone through that story before. And then eventually I managed to catch them live in concert. They're one of those bands that whenever they would come around, I would always try to see, because even for their age, like in their 50s, they would do like 3-hour sets, like an evening with Rush, 1 hour here, intermission, an hour there, etc. So you would catch a full show, and they were always energetic and put on their best. And I was always curious to see, during one show, is there going to be some deep cut that I'm going to hear live that I have not heard yet? A little bit like hearing Animate off Counterparts. If you're not a Rush fan, you probably don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But that's when I heard Ottawa Blues Fest sometime in the 2010s, I would say. I'm trying to go back in memory because I saw them a lot. Of course, there are some songs I'm never going to get to see since Neil Peart passed away back at the beginning of 2020. And it's too bad because The Analog Kid is one of the songs that I would have wanted to love to see live, because that's probably one of my favorite Rush songs of all time. So there you go. Just hearing Rush made me think it's a good time to tell some stories. Camera Eye Trophy. I guess guess it is appropriate since I am staring at the camera while I'm recording this. Somebody knows me too well. Very nice beer. This IPA is almost done, which means I'm going to contemplate if I stick around for a little bit longer or if I'm just going to be heading on out. But one thing is for certain, even though I didn't get enough footage of the Dominion bar when I was getting my shrimp KD, oh no, not my shrimp KD, my lobster KD, it was still a pretty satisfying night and a great way to enjoy the Friday and kick off the weekend activities while sharing a couple of stories at the same time. So, on this note, everybody, regardless of what I do, thanks for watching this latest edition of the WUCC Cheese Cafe. So what you like what you see, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button below and give me a thumbs up if you enjoy my wanders, the stories, the new beers I try, places I discover, and etc. And if you have any ideas for future episodes, leave in the comment section. I'll see if I can incorporate it. Till then, take care, see you next time, and maybe enjoy the sounds of silence.
Restless dreams I walked along narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp. I turned my collar to the cold and damp when my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs that voices never share. No one dared disturb the sound of silence.